What's up? Welcome back to the channel. Once again, this is everyone's game. I am Annalisa, and this is yet another F1 fantasy video. You would have already seen my team selection, and because I am not someone who is up to date with motorsports, not up to date with F1, I only watched probably one or two races coming down to the end of the last season. I thought it would be great if you can see what a true F1 fan would choose for their fantasy team. So Michael is back once again to show you his team selection, and we're gonna head straight into the video. He's basically gonna be our F1 expert for the remainder of this season. So let's get into his F1 fantasy picks ahead of the Bahrain Grand Prix deadline.
So this is my team. These are the drivers that I have selected: Lando Norris, Carlos Sainz, Ocon, Pierre Gasly, and Nicholas Latifi. And I chose the constructor to be Mercedes. Aside from being a Mercedes fanboy, I think that they are poised to have one of the best cars of the season. They're gonna make up points, and they have two great drivers who will be pulling in a lot of points. So I think Mercedes is a safe bet to get a lot of points. I chose the constructor first because, in personal opinion, that's one of the most important places to start. So drivers, I chose Lando Norris. I think before he's a great driver, he's consistent. He's constantly in the points, always in the top six of the finishing of most races. He qualifies in the top 10 in all races. And the McLaren is a fairly strong car. It's probably the fourth best car. So, yeah. Carlos Sainz. Carlos Sainz and Lando used to be teammates. They actually nicknamed them Carlando because of
Oh,
their
that's cute.
um, brother relationship. Yeah. Carlos Sainz is also my turbo driver because he's great. He joined Ferrari last year and he actually outshined his teammate Charles Leclerc, who was there for like 2 years before him, and he really settled well into the team. He wasn't in points; he was in Q3 all the time. Um, so he's performing really well. So definitely why I have Carlos Sainz. I also made him my turbo driver because he's a lot more experienced of the group of drivers I have here. He is the most experienced, and he's just a really great driver overall. I have um, Ocon. Um, he's a great driver, balanced. He's not the fastest, but he's also not the slowest. He drives for Alpine. His teammate is Fernando Alonso, who is a two-time world champion. But Ocon was actually able to win a race last year. Um, so he's driving really well. He's consistent. I have Pierre Gasly. I explained why he's a good choice. So he's on my team. And then I have Nicholas Latifi simply because I ran out of money. But Latifi is a good driver. Um, he was with George Russell last year. He only beat him last year once. And then his teammate is Alex Albon, who is, as I said, a good driver. The only thing with Alex is that it's his first time driving for Williams. It may take him some time to get accustomed to the team. And that's why I would put Nicholas because Nicholas has been there for a year. So he's accustomed to the team and the car, so he may be able to drive it better out the blocks. So that is my main team. I have a couple other teams, but all in all,
Okay.
I think it's a solid team.
Okay, so two things, right? I was really surprised that you don't have Hamilton or Verstappen. Would you do you want them in your team?
Yeah, I actually have other teams with. Well, I am not choosing Max for nothing. I have a next team with Lewis. I'll show you that team.
Hmm.
Why does I shied away from having Lewis on this team is because he's very expensive. Um,
And you wanted the
and
Mercedes as the car.
yes, I wanted the
Okay.
Mercedes as the car. Um,
Okay.
and so if
So
it is
you
you
would
watch,
also never choose Max even if he's doing really well in the season?
I don't know. We'll cross our bridge when we reach it. But as of right now, I don't want him. I think Max is a great driver, but he's very aggressive. So there's a lot of likelihoods
The
he could
man
get
just wanna win.
penalties.
The man just wanna win. I have one more question. I know you didn't pick your team based on the actual scoring system. You just said, okay, these people are always in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, considering the actual scoring system now,
Mm-hmm. The
is
qualifying
there,
and all that kind of thing.
yeah, well, qualifying or
Okay, so
also the
you'll see me
driver
looking at my
streaks? Wait,
phone because I'm watching it.
mm,
So I
right.
get
So,
to
the
do
driver
some point
streaks
scoring.
and the disqualifications did not finish beating teammate, sprint, fastest lap, sprint streaks, all those things, or also race positions gained and lost. Would
Right.
you select someone else
So
now?
which one you want me to do
Because
first?
any one of them, like any,
Okay, so
just
let's
considering
do
the total scoring system.
driver qualifying. Driver qualifies in top 10 for 5 qualifying sessions in a row. Hamilton is always in the qualifying. So he's always in the top 10. So that's a giveaway. Norris, very similar, unless something bad happens, he's usually in the top 10. So he's a next good option. Ocon, a little shaky. Sometimes he's there or not. So I probably would not get the driver qualifying streak for him right on the blocks. It's possible, but not impossible. It's
You could
likely,
probably get
it's
once, but not
unlikely, but
more
not,
than
yeah,
once,
not several
because
times, correct.
that's the thing with the streaks. Once I think it's for 5 races. Once they qualify within the top
Mm-hmm.
10, they get
Five
the points
sessions
for
in
the
a row.
streak. Then it resets. So you can possibly get how many race weeks you said it has? 20, 23,
Um,
somewhere around there.
the season, including Russia, has 23 races. So they
23,
dropped Russia, so it's now 22, and we're more than
22. They
likely
may
gonna get
replace it.
they
Okay.
may replace it. So let's go
So
23 races.
that's about four. You can possibly get points for
Four, yeah,
4 streaks
correct.
from any race, well, from any racer. And I
Mm-hmm.
think the constructors also have their own streaks. So you
Right.
can
So the
possibly
drivers in the drivers race now, the driver finishes in the top 10 for 5 races in a row. Lewis is always in the top five, so definitely gonna get that streak.
he definitely will get a
Norris as well is usually, yeah. Norris is usually in the top 10 as well. So I believe he could get that streak at least twice, maybe 3 times. Or he might surprise us and do all, provided that holds up. Ocon, again, it's a possibility, but we'll see. I
mhm.
haven't talked about Bottas and Schumacher. Bottas mainly because he's experienced, but I don't think the
But it's in
car
a new
is
car.
good enough to put in the top 10 on a consistent basis. Schumacher, this is his second year in Formula One. It's a brand new car, so we could see how he performs. He actually surprised everybody by putting in his second fastest time in the whole of the last set of tests. But it's with asterisks because he set that time when there was nobody else on the track in the late evening, so the conditions are pretty good. So it's not really an accurate representation of necessarily what the car could do. Clearly, the car could go fast, but can't go fast in a race. That's something to figure out. So then we
All
have
right. So
constructor qualifying, where both drivers qualify in the top 10 for 3 qualifying sessions in a row. My constructor in this is Ferrari. And definitely, I believe both Charles and um, Sainz will constantly be in the top 10. For the past season, they will. So they're usually always in the top 10. So definitely getting it for 3 quality sessions is definitely a possibility because once they get into Q3, which they always do unless something happens to the car or something weird happens, definitely gonna get those points. And then constructor race, both drivers finishing in the top 10 for 3 races in a row. Again, they're usually always in the top 10 unless they get crashed into or something like that. So I think Ferrari is a safe bet with this. Same for Mercedes, same for Red Bull. McLaren, I would think maybe, although Daniel is a struggler. So he might gene and thing. But yeah, I think safe bets for constructor to get these points. It's Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari.
Okay.
So those are the streaks. Point scoring is straightforward. Um, so for the race, if they finish the race, they get 1 point. Per position gained, it's 2 points. So that's a nice
And it
thing.
also happens in reverse. However, it's capped at 10, so
Yeah.
it's only 5 positions gained and 5 positions lost.
It works from where they started the race in. So for like Lewis, if it is you start the race on pole, you can't
Then
really
you
gain a
can't
price.
gain,
Exactly.
right? You can lose points for your
Getting
positions lost,
right. So if at
right?
the end of the race you'll finish less
Sixth
than
or
two.
anything,
Right.
that's 10 points gone
Yeah.
already. So you had to find people that okay, they're gonna gain positions and not
Mm-hmm.
lose positions. So you saw my team, you saw Michael's team, and that is the team selection for the first race week of the Formula One Fantasy. It is my first time playing Formula One Fantasy. Michael played it once before. He said he'll be consistent this time. We'll we'll also be doing videos for the substitutions that will be between the race weeks, and there may also be some other fantasy Formula One content coming your way. So that was the team selection, driver selection, and thank you for watching. This has been everyone's game. That's it for today's video. Peace.